Going live is as important as creating your website or web app. In this video, we are going to do exactly the same thing. We are going to create a portfolio website and then we are going to deploy it, make it live using GitHub Pages. There are many services out there which enable us to do the same thing. For example, Vercel is there, but we are going to leverage one place where we can create our project and deploy it, and finally we are going to assign a custom domain to our website. For example, your portfolio website could be in your name. Your name could be XYZ, so it will be deployed at xyz.com. And we are going to leverage LLM to create this portfolio website. Hi, my name is Janishar Ali and welcome to After Academy. But first of all, let's discuss one very important concept, which is static website and dynamic website. Portfolio website, like a website having the information about your career, your journey, your project, will have information which will be mostly static in form, where the content is not going to change. So that is something easy to deploy on such platform like GitHub. Dynamic websites are those websites which changes the content based on actions like trigger, some data changes on your backend side, and hence the UI changes based on the data. Such websites are typically made with framework like React, Vue. So we are going to handle these sort of website in some other videos. For this video, we will focus on the static website. Now let's discuss GitHub Pages. GitHub, if you know, is a place where you host or keep your project called repositories. Companies utilize them for managing their in-house projects. Also, there is open source world which exists on GitHub. So most of the software which are free, which anybody can leverage for their own productivity or in their scope of work, those projects could also be found on GitHub. It is the largest open source repository, if you know. Now, GitHub provides a service where you can host or serve static files. Static files are the files which do not change. For example, an HTML page or an image file or a style CSS file or JavaScript file. These are static files and you can serve them. Serve them means that anybody from anywhere on the internet can ask for these resources and GitHub will provide those resources to them. Somebody can ask for an image and GitHub will provide the image for them. So this is called static hosting. So GitHub does have a service through Pages where we can host our static files. Nowadays, I would recommend all the developers and software professionals to create their own portfolio website. It serves two purposes. First is of a resume. You can send it to any recruiter and they will know your work profile. Second, it adds to the discoverability and hence you would be found by some other fellow developer who might need some project support, or some recruiter can also find you via your website portfolio. We will follow a couple of steps for this entire project. First, we'll create a GitHub repo. Second, inside the GitHub repo, we'll create our portfolio website. How to create this website is up to you. Mostly nowadays for static content generation, we leverage generative AI and I'm going to do the same here. I'll use LLM inside the VS Code and you are free to use any tool of your choice. After the creation of the portfolio website, we'll serve it by GitHub Pages. After creating that page, we will then host that website on a domain using GoDaddy, or you can choose any hosting provider of your choice. So let's go into the project. First of all, you must have a GitHub account and there you can create your repository for this portfolio. I have the account for the After Academy which I'm going to leverage for this project. Now here I am going to create one repository, and I'll call it example portfolio. Now you write the name of the repo of your choice. For example, your name.com could be the name of the repo, and leave everything empty for the time being. Now it says that you need to clone or do something with the repository. I'm going to clone it, and for that let me open my terminal. I use alacrity cd. I'll put in the downloads for the time being, and then git clone the URL that we had just copied. Just cloning. Now it has cloned. Now either we can go into the folder and open into the VS Code, or I have set a shortcut code for doing the same, and the repo name example portfolio. Yes, I trust the author. Now I have a portfolio project open in the VS Code. Now what we would do, either we can start creating our own HTML CSS as you would want, or you can take the leverage of LLM tools. VS Code does come with Copilot, which you can use to create your project, or you can have a Claude subscription as well, that I have right now. So I have integrated a plugin from the Claude, and I'm going to utilize that plugin. You feel free to use the tool the way you want. Yes, I would want to start a session. Now this can be very involved, how you want to customize your website. I would want to keep it very simple. So I'll give some information about myself, and we'll ask it to create a project with a structure. This is not about how to use Claude or any LLM tool to create a project like this. That may be a subject for the future videos. For this, I just want to have a website which I can deploy. That is the main subject of this video. So let me give some information about myself. Either you can upload your resume or give the LinkedIn public profile. I have my profile at the website I have, After Academy. I'm going to use that. So I will ask fetch my profile data from this URL, and my projects from GitHub URL. I'll also supply my GitHub URL here. So now this will have the context about me and my project, and then I will ask, after building my profile, create a portfolio web app using vanilla HTML, JS and CSS. Give a project structure where all the features are in their respective directories with index.html in those directories. Also put the root HTML file in index.html. There are many ways of doing this. This is one way. I'm going in a very hurry and very quick fashion. I could refine it as much as possible, but this will get the work done. Put all the JS and CSS in assets directory. Make the project suitable for GitHub Pages. Now let's build this website. We can refine it after it does the work. Now we'll have to wait for some time. It is asking me to fetch the data. Yes, allow for this domain. Tokens are very important resource, so be cautious of how you are utilizing a token. I have a paid subscription for Claude, and my token has to be efficiently used. So whenever Claude wants to do something with your system, it asks for the permission, and you have to provide those permission. For example, to run a command to create directory, it asks the permission, and I gave it the permission to create it. You can see it has started to create the files in the assets. If you go, you can see it is doing a lot of work for us. This is the beauty of generative AI. But again, this was a simple use case, and hence generative AI was making sense for us. I would always encourage to embrace the tools which are coming up for utilization. You should use it, but also be cautious that you should not over or abuse those resources. If I had to create a project for my company, then I would be more diligent. I would be leveraging these models to give me some skeleton first, and then I could have tweaked it in the way I wanted to. I would not ask it to create from end to end my website. You have to be very, very cautious of where you are using LLM. You cannot rely 100% of the generation, so you have to double check. Sometime it would feel like you are spending more time on using these tweaks, rather you could have created something by hand. You have to find a balance between how to use generative models and how to write something or evaluate something manually. It takes some time for the building of the project, so be mindful and just grab a cup of coffee and let the agent of code work. Interestingly, you could have used the Copilot as well to do the same thing. But since I have Claude and I have found Claude quite well in coding tasks, so I would want to leverage that. Now, Copilot is a bit different in the sense that it is an aggregator. So you could choose the model of your choice. Claude also comes as a drop-down list in Copilot, but apart from Sonnet or Opus, you can select other models from ChatGPT or from Google like Gemini. So those options are there. You can also have your local LLM models also work in GitHub Copilot. So it has created the website for us, and when I open it, it has created the website of this form. It looks quite good. It has my repositories and a bit about me, and there are pages which open up well. Perfect. So now we have got our portfolio website. Of course, you can go and tweak the website theme, the information, and you can engage with the Claude or tools or any agent that you might be using to create a website which you like. You could also have given some theme color, your images, etc. So now it is up to you how you can make this portfolio website more customized to your liking. For us, we are going to commit this resource into the GitHub. So it has also given me the summary of what it has done. That is fine. Now let's commit this. Created my portfolio website. Now because Copilot is integrated, it is auto suggesting the commit messages. I'm going to accept it, and then I'm going to publish the main branch. Great. Now let's see our repository. So in the repository, I have got all the information. So we have created our portfolio website and we have pushed the code on the GitHub repository. Next step is to enable GitHub Pages so that we can access this website on a custom domain. For that, you have to go to the setting, then in the pages. Now it says to make this repository public. Okay. So I had created this project which I did not make it public. It is private by default. So first of all, I'll go and change the visibility. Change the visibility to public. Yes. So it is asking me to provide my credential. Now it must be public. Let's check. Currently it is public. Great. So now let's go to the pages again. And it says build and deploy. Deploy from a branch. Yes. Now it is saying that deploy from a branch, classic page or GitHub action. Just deploy it from a branch. Now there could be case where pages are not static HTML. They are markdown pages and you want to generate an HTML page. For example, there is a documentation website generator called WhitePress, and using WhitePress you can create HTML pages by using just your markdown files. So there you have to create actions in order to run WhitePress that generates pages from that markdown files. So that will be the topics for some other video. Now select the branch here, main, and then save it. Okay, now it says your GitHub page site is currently being built from the main branch. So we'll have to again wait. Yes, let me refresh it. Yes, your site is live. Let me visit the site. See, I have my website page live for anybody to access via the domain name. Domain name is afteracademy.github.io/example portfolio, the name of the repository. But I don't want the URL to be of this form. I want it to be served from a custom domain. So that is now the topic for the next part, where we are going to configure it using a host name service provider. In my case, it is GoDaddy. Now let's open our host name service provider. You can buy the website name of your choice from host name provider like this GoDaddy, and you can use that to deploy your project. Now to get our GitHub website served by our domain name, we'll have to create a CNAME and here provide the name www and the value will be the name of the page, domain name from which GitHub has served it, and then save it. It is updating your DNS record. It is updated. It will take some time for it to reflect on other services, and we'll have to check it. Custom domain, what is the domain name that we have? aibacus.com. So domain name that you must have purchased, you put it here and save it. Now it says that DNS check in progress. Okay, we have to add our subdomain as well that we have saved for our DNS CNAME. Now our website is now available at www.abacuslab.com. Great. So we have got our website at www.abacuslab.com. Now you must enable HTTPS. Currently it is being served as HTTP. Now let's do another thing. We have made the website accessible by a CNAME, a www. Let's host it by the Apex domain name. And if you go into the documentation, and in the documentation adding custom domain, here there are option for custom subdomain like www, custom subdomain and Apex domain. Let's go to the Apex domain, and here we have to configure it by a record. Okay, configuring a record. It says create a record with these values. So let's do that. Let me first delete my CNAME. And then in the a record, let me edit it. And then I have to create these records. A record, name, the value is this. Save it. Add more a record. Add the rate, the value, IP address, next IP address. Now we have configured all the a records which are required for Apex level domain, and then let's save it by abacuslab.com. Now the page is being checked again. We have provided our domain name here, and after the a record it is saying that DNS check unsuccessful, but let's check this URL. It is opening the default website of the GoDaddy, but if I see the URL, it is HTTP. So it might take some time for the changes to be reflected. Let's verify it via the terminal. See the content of our website by the curl, and here let's use HTTP because HTTPS will be enabled after some time. It is not curl. First let's ping the aibakers.com a record. Yes, it is configured to the IP address of the GitHub. Now let's do the curl check. Yes, I've got the data, and the data says that it should have the information about my backend and everything else. So it is working. Let's check in another browser, for example Chrome. Here let's type HTTP. Sometime the browser does a cache. Yes, it is available on the HTTP. So our website is directly available on the abacuslab.com, but it is shown as not secure because it is being served by HTTP, and we have to enable HTTPS. And for enabling HTTPS, and Safari is doing the same thing because it must have cached our response for this HTTPS, which is not available. So here it may enforce HTTPS, and if I do so again, yes, on the Chrome browser we have HTTPS now enabled, and we have our website that we have created so far, and all these linked correctly to the pages that we have. Now if I go and check the security, connection is secure, and if I Check the certificate. It shows the certificate by Let's Encrypt, which is deployed by the GitHub on our behalf. So this way you can deploy your own website using the apex domain or subdomain using the GitHub and the hostname provider like GoDaddy. Great. So I hope you must have learned how to create a simple portfolio website and deploy it using GitHub Pages using custom domain of your choice. Do subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to create more such videos in future. Thank you.